everybody. Thanks for watching The Right Side with Doug Billings. I appreciate it. We have some good news today. We are now on every major podcast carrier out there, every major podcast platform that you can imagine. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and of course we're on YouTube. Go over there and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you please like the videos that you see over there. If you feel like making a comment, go ahead. But whatever your favorite podcast platform is, subscribe to me, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be much appreciated. We have a lot of good support that has come our way already, having just started this thing about a month or so ago. And I'm grateful. But today, first of all, I have to give a shout out and a huge round of cheers and applause to General Mike Flynn and his family and his legal team. I follow his brother Jack Flynn, and he follows me back on Twitter. And, you know, it's been interesting, to say the least, to watch this thing develop over the last few years. But today the judge has thrown it out. They've won a victory, and I just couldn't be happier for them. I'm hopeful to get an interview with General Mike, hopeful to get an interview also with Sidney Powell, the amazing lawyer for General Mike. I reached out to her, and one of her people reached back to me and said, let's see what we can do, and maybe we'll have an interview on The Right Side with those folks. So a great day for the General and his family. God bless him, and cheers and congratulations, General, to all of you and your family and to your legal team. What a deal. Congratulations. There were, some notes regarding that case that were just released today that Peter Strzok took, and President Obama and Vice President Biden were both in the know about this, and specifically both of them gave orders to investigate and beguile General Flynn. And so it's going to be interesting. This is huge. This is no little deal. And of course, we still have the Department of Justice investigation, the William Barr team investigating the Comeys of the world, the Brennans, the Clappers, Page and Strzok, and, the cast of characters. I'm telling you, Biden, in these notes today that were published, Biden is thoroughly mentioned in all of these notes as being very aware. Now, based on what we've seen from good old Joe lately, he may not genuinely remember any of it, but the notes that other people have taken have implicated him. And I've been saying that this problem, his mental problems, his cognitive problems, I stand by the prediction I've made all along that the new Democratic Socialist Party is not going to allow Joe Biden to be their nominee for president. I'm out on a limb there, but I think that we're going to see that come true. I don't know who it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be Joe Biden. What else? Well, cities across America, cities that are led, ironically, by the new Democratic Socialist Party, these cities that have leaders that are members of the new Democratic Socialist Party are still on fire. They continue to face mob anarchy, the destruction of statues, attacking of innocent people, burning innocent businesses, rape and murder. I swear, you guys. I swear, you and you think I'm joking? Probably not a joke here. I bet it's safer for an American to walk the streets of Tehran than it is to walk anywhere in Chicago or Seattle or any of these cities that are run by the new Democratic Socialist Party. Clearly, the police force have been disengaged because of the lack of support they are experiencing these days. Again, the fault of the new Democratic Socialist Party. I saw a video clip today. You'll have to go to my Twitter page and look at it, at Doug Billings. There was a group of thugs that threw some sort of a firecracker bomb device at a sleeping homeless person. Blew up, a huge fireball, and sparks flew. Of course, the thugs and the animals, they just thought it was hilarious. They run off. But this is what we're up against. It's demonic. It's not even anarchy. It's well beyond anarchy. It's demonic, and Satan is in action on the streets in Seattle, Chicago, and other major cities where we see this. You want more proof? Look up the guy that goes by the name of Mr. Sean King, ladies and gentlemen. Sean King is making a name for himself because he's claiming that, hey, while we're taking down all of these other statues, let's make sure that we also take down the statues of Jesus Christ. Let that one sink in. You know why? Why does Mr. King want the statues of Jesus removed? Get ready for this one. Because Jesus, in his opinion, is a symbol of white supremacy. Now, look, I'm well aware that there are some of you out there who have the intellectual capability of a Bush. But, and you may agree with Mr. King with that kind of intellectual capacity. But thankfully, and I mean it, thankfully, you all represent less than 1/2 of our population, and we don't have to spend a lot of time worrying about you or that your ideals will become mainstream in this country. I use that as an example of the falling away of young people, ladies and gentlemen, from the tenets, the teachings, the example, the commandments of the Son of God himself. This is how the pathway of divine providence is circumvented and abandoned. But again, don't fear, don't worry. This is not me stirring up fear or wanting you to be fearful. This is a 15-minute of fame moment for Mr. King. By the end of this week in the next news cycle, we will all have moved on and forgotten about Mr. King and his desire to take down the statues of Jesus. And even if he somehow lingers in the news cycle, again, as with all of the statue removals, my colleagues and friends on both sides of the aisle, those reasonable, rational Democrats, and those, of course, the conservative members of my group of friends, they don't want the statues removed. Nobody does. It's ridiculous. And what about these young people? The generation, I don't know, X, Y, Z, whatever they are. They're, young people in their 20s. Have you seen these videos that are going viral where they're mocking the police? You've got, young women and men who are approaching this line of well-behaved, disciplined police officers. And once again, the good guys are the cops. But they're raging about how their uniforms, these police uniforms, make them feel unsafe. Your badge makes me feel threatened. Your gun is oppressive. I mean, they feel violated. They feel sick, and they feel afraid when they see police officers. And again, some members of the New Democratic Socialist Party will say, well, Doug, they're only reacting to their past experiences with law enforcement officers. They're only trying to express their genuine feelings in a way that makes sense. Well, that's BS. First of all, these young white people primarily, young people that are standing there yelling at the police officers, white or black, I don't think they've been out of their basement enough to have an encounter with the police officers. They're living in mom and dad's basement, and they're, with dreadlocks for hairdos, and they're simply making a scene now because they've been taught that the entire world owes them something. And this is where we need to make a stand for the truth, my friends. A stand for the truth, because these punks aren't reacting to things they've seen with regards to law enforcement, not in their lives anyway. They're reacting to the generation of liberal college and university educators who have indoctrinated them, brainwashed them, all about the sins of being white, and that cops and the white establishment, as if there is such a thing, and there is not, are oppressive and abusive, and you must resist them because they represent authority. They're reacting to parental upbringings that have promised them that no matter what, my son, no matter what, my daughter, you'll get a trophy, and the challenges in your lives will be taken care of by mom and dad. They're reacting like this because they're victims of the wussification of America. We have a bunch of crybabies out there all over the age of 21 who haven't reached intellectual puberty yet, and they may never will, who can complain about absolutely everything, but they can't solve anything. As far as I'm concerned, you should substitute the letter P for the letter W in the word wussification, and then you've really got what's on our hands in this country. Now, it might sound like I don't want to find a commonality, like I'm just digging in my heels, and if you don't believe in what we believe in, then screw it. and I don't want to find commonality. And that's not true. It's just that the paradigm and the philosophy of the new Democratic Socialist Party is so out there that sometimes it's hard to reach through all of that muck and see commonality. But I think most Americans crave it, and they want commonality. It's partly because of the intellectual maturity of the other side, and I know I use that term a lot when I'm dealing with the members of the new Democratic Socialist Party, but I have yet for any one of them to present to me an intellectually mature reason why they think or thought that America was on a bad pathway before the whole COVID-19 misinformation campaign began. They actually think America was just in a terrible place for these last 3 years. They have no substantive reasons or proof of that. They simply dislike the current occupant of the Oval Office. They simply dislike President Trump's personality. And I understand. They don't like the way that he tweets. They don't like the way that he counterpunches. They don't like his style, whatever. But there's no, prove me wrong, there's no intellectually mature reason to say to us, to prove to us that America was on a bad pathway prior to COVID-19. I mean, you know the list. We've had record unemployment for all measurable demographics in the country, record stock market gains. There was better trade deals, better business deals, there were better tax cuts. Our other nations were paying their fair share, or at least close to it, with regards to dues and fees of the United Nations and NATO. More money in our pockets because there was less taxes taken out of our paychecks. We had a better dialogue with North Korea. There was more prosperity for anybody who wanted to search out and seek prosperity. We had a more sound, equipped, motivated military. We still do, thankfully. 4 million jobs were created in the 3 years since he took office. More Americans have become employed since 2016 than at any time in the history of the United States. When Trump was railed against and beguiled and mocked and ridiculed because he said, I'm going to grow the economy by 3%, he turned around and grew it by 4.2%. Unemployment for everybody, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, whites, women, young people between the ages of 18 and 20, even those citizens who don't even have a high school diploma enjoyed the lowest unemployment records in the history of our country. So how were we on a bad pathway? Everybody was doing better. I'm left to draw the only conclusion I can. It's only because they don't like President Trump's personality. So can't you please put that aside and find commonality in the good things that have happened in this country? This is the United States of America. And while no country on the planet is perfect, the United States of America is exceptional. We're extraordinary. There's no such thing as a perfect country, a perfect world, a perfect person, a perfect group of citizens. We're going to have to wait for the reward of heaven before we see anything like that. But in the meantime, we need our educators, for example, to be held accountable to teach American exceptionalism, American pride. There's nothing wrong with that because it's true. That stuff exists, and it's moral to teach the good of that. There is no more moral, dignified, welcoming country than the United States of America. What we failed with regards to our young people is to teach them this, to teach them to see this. But yet every legal immigrant who comes to this country can see the American exceptionalism from across the planet, from beyond the borders. That's what draws them here. American Exceptionalism. It's a shame when people born thousands of miles away can see that before our children born right here can. We need to teach kids that not everybody wins, not everybody gets a trophy, that challenges and adversities and even tragedies in our life are blessings waiting to be born. They're not a defeat. With perspective, you give birth to these blessings by seeing everything that comes to your way as a gift. The good and the bad and the ugly. And sometimes, yes, we have to go through pain. But in the midst of the pain, and on the other side of the pain, with the gift of hindsight and proper perspective, we begin to see the blessings, and they abound. We have a pack of blessings on our back, every one of us. If we can teach kids to see everything as a gift, people then will become grateful. And gratitude brings one thing very well and very easy. It brings happiness. Grateful people don't burn cities to the ground. They don't burn businesses. They don't riot and loot. They don't rape and kill. Grateful people want to seek out the good. They want to be around the good, and they want to spread the good. They want to be good. Grateful people get it. The statues being torn down are largely people who, though not perfect, have been exceptional in one way or another. Let's allow their exceptionality to stand. Let's allow the statues to remain. Can't we find commonality in that? Can't we find commonality in gratitude, and that through gratitude comes happiness? And the combination of seeing everything as a gift, recognizing that tragedies, adversities, and challenges are blessings waiting to be born, choosing to do good and follow and pursue good, leads us to the conclusion that we can complete the reason why we were born, the meaning of life. The meaning of life is simply defined and summarized as this. It's that we enter continually into the lives of others to make differences for the better. That we continually enter into the lives of others to make differences for the better. That's the reason why we were born. And it doesn't mean that we have to pay someone's mortgage or college education. It just simply means we conduct small kindnesses towards each other, that we try to find commonality, and that we shake hands and agree that we're not going to let someone's personality convince us that there hasn't been some good that's come from his leadership. Let's find some commonality, America. Let's find commonality in each other, support each other, try to shake hands, pat each other on the back, and do what the founders imagined that we would do. Stop depending upon the government and depend on neighbors and neighborhoods and communities to help each other. I hope that you like hearing this. I hope that you can find some commonality. Let's try to do that. And in the meantime, I hope God blesses you, continues to keep you safe, and He continues to bless the United States of America. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Good night.